last but definitely not the least, Radhika. Uh,
Hi.
Radhika, given your senior position, how would you enhance the position of more women rising to senior leadership roles? And specifically, are there any mentorship programs that you follow within your organization or you'd like to talk about?
Sure. Imagine a gender equal world, a world which is free of all biases, stereotype barriers, a world which is truly diverse, inclusive, and equitable, a world where differences are valued and celebrated. Together, we can forge women equality. Collectively, we can break the bias. I wish all the people on this call, the incredibly amazing ladies here, a very happy Women's Day. Thank you, Karan and EQ, for this opportunity. To answer your question, yes, we have a mentorship program at work, and it's definitely not only for women, but for all employees. But me being a woman and definitely want to drive the DIBE agenda. So I'm also mentor to not only a few high pods, but at the same time to at least 3 women ladies in my organization who I am kind of personally mentoring to ensure that they move up the hierarchy, and more importantly they are able to. So honestly speaking, a lot of people have spoken about this, that we really at an organization level, I don't think so we need a very specific gender policy as such, but what we really need is to break the bias, to change the mindsets of people. So we might say a lot of things, and we say that okay, our society is evolved, but the likes of Tanya probably are very few. We can just count them on fingers, because the biases exist. When a man actually walks up at 6 p.m. in the evening and he wants to go back home on time, people will say, okay, learn from him. He knows how to balance work and life. But when a woman wants to go back at 6 p.m. each day, then we say she's shunning the organization responsibility because she has so many things to take care back at home. So this is how it happens. I'm the CHRO for Jakson Group. My responsibility, my role entails travel, and of course I'm the mother also. And then my husband, he's a business head in one of the German MNCs. Even he has to travel. But what happens when he has to travel? My mother-in-law or the people around the house, they are very proud. Okay, he can live life out of the suitcase because it's a very critical role. But my role, okay, I have to justify each of the travel. And that's a fact. Okay, so our workplaces are actually the mirror image of the socio-cultural dynamics of our lives outside work. And diversity is the fabric of our society. Yes, we can have many policies, but we have to actually change the mindset of people, and we have to actually create the places where diversity and inclusion is really celebrated. Diversity is easy, okay? We can actually give mandates to people, to my recruiters, that okay, 50%, 60%, we have to get women, and we are doing it also. It's difficult to kind of get women in the energy space at let's say mid-level and senior level, because the pool is limited. But what we have done is we have started at the bottom-most level, where we are hiring interns from colleges, and we are making sure that 60% are females, and then they move up the hierarchy. So okay, that number is possible, but even when they come, are we really ready to accept them? Are we really? So it's like diversity is, we make sure that our female colleagues are invited to a party, but we really want them on the dance floor? Are we really going to play the music which they like? Is something like welcoming them and making the workplace inclusive. So I think, having said that, the workplace policies, yes, we have to ensure that that's a given, that we have to make a very safe workplace. We have to have our environment flexible, not only for females, even for males these days. Work-life balance has to be, everybody has to juggle with so many responsibilities. So flexibility is the need of the hour. At the same time, yes, a little push is definitely required, because there is a history of, women being discriminated and deprived. So if we want to bring them at par, we will have to give them a little push, but of course on merit. So yeah, that's about it. I think.
I really I need to ask this question to you. Yeah.
Hmm.
How are you managing the biases for yourself at work and at home? How do you balance it out? Because I think that's, as I keep saying, that's one of the toughest thing, that most women have had to do and, continue to do as well. How do you manage the balance?
See, I think most important thing here is to first of all manage our own perceptions about ourselves. Of course, initially, so many centuries ago, we were actually the primary caregiver around the house. The women had to actually take care of everything. But I think now, with more and more women joining the workplaces, we will have to get into this head that yes, we are the primary caregivers, but we are not the only caregivers. Okay, so women, ladies will have to get this out of their head and stop beating themselves if they are not able to attend a child's parent teachers meeting one of the days, or probably if somebody is unwell at home and I was not there at that time. So it's okay. Things happen, and you can't make yourself feel guilty all the time. And that's where you have to say that okay, maybe thak sakti hu, I can also take a break. That is something which is very important. The physical and mental well-being is very important, and regret and guilt has no place there. Women, I think, have been given this inherent qualities of multitasking. We can actually juggle a lot of things, but that can only be possible when we respect ourselves, when we are able to also say that people have to take responsibilities around the house. I'm not the only one who will do it, and at the same time I should be able to forgive myself. And I think these are the few things where and of course, leading a disciplined life, there are no two ways about it. Everything of course, we can have our flexibility, but when a person like me, where there's a small kid at home and there's so long working hours, so if the things are disciplined and planned, things will happen well. But I am ready to forgive myself, and no regrets and no guilt.
Thank you so much for being so honest, open, candid, and correct. I think all that you said, for anyone and everyone listening, I think that's the way to go, right? Touch wood. I know we've overshot time, but I just request, each of the panelists of the first session to give one piece of advice to build a career in this sector, not for women, because the women that we have on this panel should be giving advice to both genders, given their positions that they hold currently. So I don't think Tanya's on call, but I'll start with Meghna, if you're there.
Hey, Karan, you actually took away my advice, and my advice was exactly this: don't let your gender determine what you can achieve in the sector. I think the sector is very open, and the way it is progressing, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for everyone to participate. The only bit of advice I would say: work hard and achieve what you set your mind to. And I am very much in the category of not knowing all the challenges that women have while balancing their work life, because I don't have children as well. So I do hats off to all the other women who are on this panel, who have been managing it so beautifully and yet achieving all that they have achieved. So only one bit of advice: put your head down, set your goals, and just work towards achieving it. I don't think there is anything impossible for for us to achieve. That's it.
Thank you. Manvi? Manvi, you're on mute.
Sir, Miss Manvi has left. Hello. Yeah.
Okay. Suchita?
Hi, Karan. Thanks. I think I just state from what Meghna said. There's really no substitute for hard work. That actually applies wherever you work across sectors. So I really think that's true. And I think specific to the renewable energy sector or any heavily regulated sector you work in, I think irrespective of what field you're in, I think it's really important to know your sector and know, what's applicable, what the rules are, and be familiar. Like even for lawyers, you need to know some bit of the technical aspects of a project to even understand, how it all works. Like when I started PLF, someone had to sit down and explain PLF to me when I just started like negotiating loan agreements. So they're like, what does this mean? So it's really important, like for a lawyer, that's important for me, for a technical guy, knowing some bit of the regulations. So I think that specific to this sector, I think that's very important.
Thank you. Mani?
So for energy sector professionals, one thing I've learned in this sector is it keeps changing. There's new technology coming up. The change is constant. And, first it was access, then, you have new smart meters coming up, new technologies coming up in RE. So, and I think that is one of the key things that in this sector, change is constant, the changing, so you have to be on top of your game. And that was, as you said, for both men and women. On the women front, I think I completely agree with Radhika. The guilt trip is really not required. And I feel, and I know quite a few people now, at least, in the society that we are living in, understand that everyone needs to help out. And I think our biggest problem sometimes becomes that we want to do everything ourselves as well. So that thing of just reaching out and asking for help, like, can we, you take care of this, I'll take care of this, and things can be sorted out. I think that is the only thing actually which keeps me going. You juggle so many things and then you just share responsibilities, and that really works well. So reach out.
I think, as they say, you got to learn to let go sometimes. Shubha?
I think I'm going to just take on what Mani and Radhika specifically said on the guilt and the giving yourself a break, but I think you also need to demand a seat at the table. It's not given to you. You have to ask for it justifiably. And that is where doing your homework and doing your hard work and doing your preparation and comes in. But even after doing all that, you have to ask. And that is the reality of today. And that is something we need to keep in mind and not be shy of. Lots of women are diffident when it comes to that last mile going over the barrier. And there's hesitation and there's all sorts of things going on. We need to move beyond that. And that's, from a woman's point of view, for public policy, I would like to make a request. It's not a very evolved field in India. We have lots of people in public policy, but we don't have people who are really deeply passionate about it, deeply understand the sector's cross-sectoral work. I would like, this is a sector that is actually very welcoming to women. And it's something that I would request a lot of people to give, I don't know how to get the message across to them that this is a viable profession and that we need more people in this profession to make sure that the policy and the legislation and the laws and everything that we operate on are sound to begin with, because without that bedrock and that foundation, it's difficult, and then it becomes organization-driven initiatives, which is difficult to scale up to 1.5 billion people. And so I would really welcome women to come into this sector and bring that nuance and sensitivity into the work that we do. And I look forward to it. I'm an MBA, I'm a journalist, I'm a STEM journalist, but public policy involves a lot of common sense. It's how you perceive society, it's how you would like your country to be, how you would like the world to be. And this is an opportunity that I think a lot of our young women would really benefit from. So I welcome them to this.
Thanks, Shubha. And be rest assured, you'll have our support in enhancing your objectives, because I think they are not only noble, but they are the need of the hour in this country. So we'll have a chat on that for sure. Manvi, I see you're back. Radhika?
Okay, I think my tip or advice would not be related to energy sector per se. I would just say, imagine an encounter between an elephant and a lion, right? Elephant thinks, oh, I have to run because he'll eat me. And the lion thinks, there's lunch there, I need to pounce upon. Though elephant is much more powerful, but then why lion is the king of the jungle? Because his mindset is of a winner. So I would urge each one of you to first think and then actions will all follow, whether it is hard work, whether it is learning new technology, whether it is doing anything. But everything has to start here, and you have to think like a woman. You have to think like a winner. One thing which I wanted to specifically talk to the women folks is, I still see a lot of women sacrificing their careers. Okay, taking a break is okay, you know, if you want to balance and juggle between you know, you want to have a motherhood break, or you want to spend some time to take sabbaticals, like somebody said, ask for support. That's okay, but please don't give up on your career. This too shall pass. I understand there are tough times, and sometimes we really feel that urge to, okay, you know, let man take this role, and I will, you know, take care of the family, I will take care of the kids. That in itself is a very big role. But I somehow feel that you will be able to juggle through all the responsibility. You just have to wait for a while, take a break, but then please don't give up. I think I'll rest my case here. Thank you.
I couldn't agree with you more. I have a mother who's done that and a wife who's doing that. Kudos. Thank you. Thank you, Radhika. And with this, we move to the second panel for discussion. Thank you so much for that engaging conversation to all the previous panelists.